Alright guys, Dominic here for Kit Guru, and today as part of its Computex 2026 program, AMD has announced global availability for the RX 9070 GRE. Now, if that name sounds familiar, it's because technically it actually launched as a Chinese exclusive way back in April-May last year, but today AMD has said it's going to be hitting shelves worldwide. Offering what is essentially a cut-down RX 9070 die, the RX 9070 GRE features fewer cores, 4 gigs less VRAM, and a narrower memory interface. But what does that mean for performance, and is it still worth buying? That's what we're going to find out in today's video. So kicking things off then with just a little bit of context at the start of the video. As we mentioned, the RX 9070 GRE did initially launch back in China as a regional exclusive. That was in sort of April-May last year. But today AMD has announced it is going to be rolling out worldwide, and it's going to have a $549 price tag. In the UK, we're told to expect pricing in the region of £469 to £479. So it is in a very similar ballpark to the RTX 5070, which is readily available at 500 quid. In terms of specs, it uses the same RDNA 4 die as the 9070 and 9070 XT, but it is cut down across the board with 48 CUs compared to 56 for the vanilla 9070, and that means fewer RT cores and fewer ROPs too. Clocks are slightly higher than the 9070, but not quite as high as the XT, but the memory configuration is changed up quite a bit, given we now find 12 gigs of GDDR6 over a 192-bit bus. At 18 gigabits per second, that gives total memory bandwidth of 432 gigabytes a second, so quite a step down from the other 9070 GPUs. We can also see that power is rated for 220 watts. Like the rest of the RDNA 4 family as well, there is no reference card, and instead we were sent the Sapphire Pulse edition. Now this one does come factory overclocked, but regular viewers will know for these day one reviews we test all GPUs at reference specifications, so things are as apples to apples as possible. In terms of our test setup then for this video, we are using our regular GPU test system, and this is powered by MSI. It's packing in the AMD Ryzen 7 9800X3D paired with MSI's MPG X870E Carbon Wi-Fi motherboard, and we've got 64 gigs of DDR5 6000 CL30 memory from Kingston. I've also retested absolutely everything for this launch, so we've added in some new games, and I'm using the latest drivers at the time of testing. Unlike most of our GPU launches though, in this video I'm not actually going to go over the results of every single game in great detail. Instead, if you want to see every single one of our charts, you can head over to the written review on kitguru.net. In this video, I thought it'd be a little bit faster if I just focused on the key performance trends over a few games before we check out the 12-game average summary and then move on to ray tracing. The reason for that is because performance for the 9070 GRE is pretty much as you'd expect based on the specs. It sits between the 9060 XT and the 9070, often 12 to 16% slower than the latter at 1440p, like we can see here in Claire Obscure Expedition 33. It's more like 30% faster than the 9060 XT 16 gig though, which is what we see in Cyberpunk and also in Death Stranding 2, so it is definitely much closer to the vanilla 9070 than it is to the 9060 XT. That means 1440p performance is solid, though I think the comparison against the RTX 5070 is most interesting, as they're at very similar price points here in the UK. There are games where things are neck and neck, like Forza Horizon 6 and also Resident Evil Requiem, but we also see the GRE fall behind by 17% in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, 10% in Plague Tale Requiem, and then 13% in Horizon Forbidden West. Averaged over the 12 games we tested then at 1440p, funnily enough, the 9070 GRE has 14% fewer cores than the RX 9070, and it's 14% slower on average, while it's 31% faster than the 9060 XT 16GB. As we saw, it does generally trade blows with the RTX 5070, but it's coming in 6% slow on average, and we didn't see any games where it offered a meaningful performance improvement over the GeForce card. Just to really highlight that comparison as well, we've broken down performance of the 9070 GRE relative to the RTX 5070 at 1440p. Across all 12 games tested then, it was at best 2% faster than the 5070 in Forza Horizon 6 as it happens, but that is close enough where the results are functionally identical. On the other hand, 7 of the 12 games tested saw the GRE come in at least 5% slower than the 5070. Don't get me wrong though, it is still a very solid 1440p class GPU. I just wonder if, as we're going to see later on in the video, that the price to performance ratio may well need adjusting. And indeed, that brings us on nicely to our cost per frame analysis. At the time of writing, the exact UK pricing hasn't been confirmed for the 9070 GRE, which is why we've included 2 data points. We spoke with one retailer that expects pricing to land around £469 to £479, but we've also heard that the MSRP for the Pulse could be £499. Either way, the GRE is not going to offer exceptional value, at least not at launch. It's by no means bad value, but nor is it a clear improvement over the likes of the RTX 5070, and given the other advantages that GPU can offer, I do think that is problematic for the 9070 GRE. And then we come on to ray tracing, which has in the past been an Achilles heel for AMD, but RDNA 4 has certainly made strides in this area. There's some positive results for the 9070 GRE, given it's on par with the 5070 in Assassin's Creed Shadows, while it's also neck and neck in Doom the Dark Ages, though do note that's without path tracing enabled. However, it's games where RTFX are heavier, like Alan Wake 2, or when path tracing gets involved in Black Myth Wukong, where we really see Nvidia pull ahead, and the 9070 GRE is actually slower than even the 5060 Ti 16GB in both of those titles. We also noticed some weirdness in Forza Horizon 6 with ray tracing enabled, which could be a driver bug related to RT, given performance is barely ahead of the 9060 XT 16GB, but it was as expected when ray tracing was turned off. Overall though, I'd say ray tracing performance does scale as expected versus the RX 9070, with the 9070 GRE now 16% slower on average at 1440p. But, as we saw, Nvidia does offer the upper hand in this department, and the 9070 GRE is only a hair faster than the 5060 Ti 16GB, while it's 18% slower on average than the RTX 5070. As we mentioned though, there are games where the margins are much closer, and generally the 9070 GRE does offer a solid enough ray tracing performance, though it does depend on the games you play. Particularly if you're playing ray trace games with much heavier effects or even path tracing, then well, Nvidia has the clear lead. It's also worth reiterating that all of that ray tracing testing has been done with upscaling enabled, a change we took on board due to feedback, which makes sense as not many people will be enabling ray tracing without FSR or DLSS to win back some performance. As we know, RDNA 4 supports the latest FSR 4 and 4.1 upscaler, and this is a massive improvement over FSR 3.1. It's something we've looked at in more depth in previous content, and there's nothing kind of specifically new about it to this launch, but I just wanted to flag that up as well, as upscaling on AMD is now miles better than it was with RDNA 3. Leaving behind performance data just for a minute though, we're going to shake things up and take a quick look at the Sapphire Pulse card itself. Now, if you've seen any Sapphire Pulse model from either the 7000 or 9000 series, you will know what to expect. It's mostly black with some red accents as befitting the Pulse series, while it is also fitted with a metal backplate and pretty solid build quality. It's got two 100mm fans and it's pretty compact by modern standards, measuring 280 by 120.25 by 51.5mm. It's outfitted with two DisplayPort 2.1 ports and two HDMI 2.1 ports, and you may be glad to know it's using a pair of regular 8-pin PCIe power connectors, so no 12V high power in sight. The good news is that it runs nice and cool too. We saw a peak of just 55 degrees on the GPU and 75 degrees on the hotspot, so both indicate thermals are well under control. We've not tested any other partner cards yet, so we've not really got any other point of comparisons, but we may do in the future if there's any interest, so let me know which particular models you'd like us to check out down in the comments below. GDDR6 memory thermals are also impressive, with the 9070 GRE Pulse recording a peak of 72 degrees. For context, the vanilla RX 9070 Pulse, which is the non-GRE and non-XT model, has much warmer memory thermals, peaking at 88 degrees on our testing, so it is good to see a reduction with this new card. As we've come to expect from a Sapphire Pulse model as well, it runs very quiet as well. In our testing, the fan spun up to just 31%, or about 1260 RPM, producing just 34 decibels on our sound meter, which is very competitive. We also logged power draw over all 12 games tested thanks to Nvidia's PCAT tool, but here we're going to focus on the average results for 1440p, where we can see the Pulse is pretty much on its rated 220 watt total board power, given it pulled 222.1 watts in our testing. That is, however, the same power draw as the vanilla RX 9070, so clearly the GRE is much less efficient, and we can see that based on this performance per watt chart, where the GRE is second from bottom. It is 9% less efficient than the RTX 5070, and some 14% less efficient than the chart-topping RX 9070. Now, it's certainly not a deal breaker by any means, but I am kind of left wondering if the 9070 GRE is using lower quality bin dies that need just a bit more juice to get them running at the required clock speeds. But anyway, that really does bring us on to the end of this review. I hope you guys didn't really mind the faster format than normal. I figured, considering the fact that this GPU technically launched last year, and the fact that performance is pretty much as we'd expect based on the specs, it wasn't really worth going over every single one of our charts in great detail like we normally do. But as I mentioned, if you do want to see every single one of the 206 charts I produced as part of this testing, you can do so in the written article over on kitguru.net, and I'll leave a link to that down in the description below. In a nutshell though, we found gaming performance to be 14% slower on average than the vanilla 9070 at 1440p, while it's roughly 30% ahead of the 9060 XT 16GB. I do think that the most interesting comparison is against Nvidia's RTX 5070 though, and we saw the AMD GPU come in 6% slower. As we know, however, Nvidia does hold the upper hand for ray tracing performance, and things are no different here. There are still plenty of games where the 9070 GRE will offer a good ray traced experience, but in titles with heavier ray tracing and particularly path tracing, the RTX 5070 is streets ahead. We even saw the 5060 Ti 16GB coming in faster when looking at Alan Wake 2 and Black Myth Wukong, so if that's your priority, Team Green is the way to go. Ultimately, the success of the RX 9070 GRE is all going to come down to pricing, and that's where I have to say I am somewhat concerned for this GPU. Even if we take the sort of lower end of the range we've been told to expect here in the UK, a price of £469 makes this just 30 quid cheaper than the RTX 5070, despite all the advantages that card has to offer. Things like its superior ray tracing performance, superior raw performance for rasterization, DLSS and MFG support, not to mention the fact it's more efficient and is generally superior for AI and productivity workloads. Realistically, I think the 9070 GRE will need to be at least £50 cheaper to put clear daylight between it and the RTX 5070. Ideally, buyers would even be able to stump up around £550 for a vanilla RX 9070, which would be even more beneficial considering it packs in 16 gigs of VRAM rather than the 12 gigs we find here and on the RTX 5070 for that matter. However, you do have to point out that the situation has changed significantly since RDNA 4 and the 50 series launched last year, given memory is now significantly more expensive, as exemplified by the fact that 9060 XT 16GB models are typically priced 25% higher than MSRP. At the end of the day though, the RX 9070 GRE is clearly not a product to get wildly excited about, but in all fairness, it's not terrible either, it's just not particularly exciting. I do think it could be worth considering, but the pricing has to be right, as if it's too close to the RTX 5070, that GPU is just superior across the board. Anyway guys, that is where I'm going to leave this video. So if you liked it, please just toss me a thumbs up, and as always, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Please do subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to ding that notification bell so you don't miss when we upload a new video. If you want to carry on the conversation, you can find a link to our Discord server, which is down below, and while you're there, you'll also find a link to both our merch store and our Patreon if you want to help us out that way. Anyway guys, that's it for this video. I'm Dominic for Kit Guru, and I'll see you in the next video.